speaking of old trademarks and old licenses and old video game consoles that nary a person cares about. Is that a term, nary? I'll redo that. I don't know.
Nary is a term.
Okay. Well, speaking of old outdated video game properties, the Intellivision Amico. We just have a quick update. I wish I had my Robert Stack button for update. So Tommy responded to us talking about the quizzical job listings of them needing firmware people and people to help make the system run and to boot it up and to make splash pages and set up the servers and things like that.
It's all well. We were wrong. It's all for
accessories that they'll be working on for 2021 and 2022, according to Tommy Tallarico.
Questions answered.
Yeah, because when I'm struggling to get a game console, what I want to do, Ian, is worried about my accessory. I'm going to be coming out in the market in 2 years. That's what I want to do when I'm way behind and I've already taken $1.5 million of people's money and $500,000 from, again, the German government, which no one is talking about. And these interviews don't bring up at all, which I think is a pretty fair point to bring up when you have four of your packing games being developed through German grant money, through taxpayer dollars, and how that's going to work and how that's structured. Anyway, though, I digress. So, this is what I'm going to say to Tommy. And Tommy claims now that, because you said, well, have we seen a working console? So, of course, he tried to pick the one little thing that gets you, Ian. Don't say there's no physical media, Ian. Don't you say that. So you said, we haven't seen a working console. So Tommy's argument was, well, we put out 2 videos at the end of March, which is when they started and were doing their first, pre-order campaign. I guess the Founders Edition, whatever it was, the wood grain one was. They put out their Sideswipers little car track video, single screen racing destruction derby game sort of thing, and they did a video for the new Missile Command. So in those videos, the people are playing on the couch and you are like 9 feet away from the TV. There is something that looks like a white Amico console laid out on the table in front, but there's no way to know if that's actually playing the games. There's no way you can see if it's connected to the TV. And there's 2 laptops in that video. There's one on the right side, which I think is doing video capture. There's one on the left side. There's a blue board in the picture. There's all this stuff going on.
Yeah, behind the
TV. There's like this
the casing.
Yeah, there's all this stuff going on here. So Tommy's saying, well, that's evidence that we had a working console there. Even if you give him the benefit of the doubt, which I don't think Tommy has earned at all due to his straight up fabrications and lies in the past, he has not earned the benefit of the doubt, at least to me. And to Ian, would you agree he is not at this point?
No, I would not give him the benefit of the doubt.
Going back to things like, oh, we're going to do 2D games on our console better than the PS4 and modern consoles do. Remember that shit from 2 years ago that no one talks about?
Yes.
Like these outlandish claims.
Yeah, this board is going to do more. Yeah.
This $15 Android board will do better games than $400 consoles. Anyway, so even if that console was somehow running those games, that's not my definition of a working console. A working console to me is something close to retail and consumer ready. And I want to splice that here because there's when we see those videos, we don't see the game boot up. We don't see the game being loaded. We don't see the console powered up. We don't see the LED lights around the console. We don't see the controllers being synced to the console. We don't see anything. So again, I don't know if we can give him the benefit of the doubt to that anyway. And if Tommy wanted to shut us up in the past week, all he had to do, Ian, was, hey, Pat, here's a console. I'm hooking up HDMI to the TV. Here's the power button. It's on. There's a splash screen. I'm going to click the menu, and I'm going to load up the game and play it. That's all you'd have to have done.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't even if you did that, though, there's no guarantee that means it's ready for production. But at least you could have shut me and Ian up. So that's all I'm going to say about that. At this point, it's getting ridiculous. There is a nice theory at my favorite website, amicogames.com, your source for Intellivision Amico information. There was a comment about surmising because who's your new favorite YouTuber, Ian, that wanted to be on the show with us?
The madman, the madman.
Mad Movie Man. What was his?
I don't know, but he came out, he left a comment yesterday saying that if he wanted to know if we were ready to talk to the madman. No, I'm not.
Okay, so it's I don't want to punch down on some of these YouTubers, but to me it's funny. He's a YouTuber. He wears a Dr. Doom mask. He interviewed Tommy here. There was this comment though that had a good theory about what's going on with the Amico. This is just a comment. We'll leave it up to you whether or not you agree with it. Here's what I got. This is from a commenter named ST. Intellivision knows that this won't sell as much as Tommy had originally hoped. To break even at this new price point, they only need to sell 180,000 Amicos, which is their internal numbers they reported, which is a number their research indicates is obtainable. They know the majority of families looking for this type of experience will buy a Switch for the extra cost instead. So they hiked the price up to $250 to $300 for pre-orders and the initial run from the planned $199 MSRP. After the pre-orders in the initial batch gets sold to the retro gamer market that Tommy is exploiting, they will lower the price back down to $199 and aim their marketing to parents of young kids, families at the mall, hospitals, retirement homes, elementary schools, etc. The reason Tommy doesn't show an actual console isn't because he's poor. It's because he's not fronting the bill for most of what is spent by Intellivision Entertainment. The funds come from private investors, your pre-orders, grants from foreign governments, etc. That's the reason for the extensive market research. It's to appease investors who need to see data before moving forward on spending. Tommy is just the face, the snake oil salesman, the con man. The truth is they need every bit of that pre-order money because the majority of their early work went into showing something viable for investors to get on board, not building an actual system. Make no mistake, this thing is barely being pieced together. They are way behind schedule now and definitely do not have a completed game system anywhere close to ready for launch, which is what we said last week. Tommy is lying about that because it is his job to string along the retro gamers who will pay an inflated price. Long-term, Tommy doesn't know what the Amico will be because it's not him who makes those decisions, it's his investors. That's not a totally unreasonable take.
That after the money comes in, he basically had to give up.
Oh yeah, because when you get the more investors you get, the less control of your company and product you have. I mean, that's just how it works. It's just how it works. And someone might come in and say, "Listen, I'm going to give you $10 million. I'm going to have say about what the hell's going on. Either take my money and my direction." It's like Shark Tank, right? Some of them said, "Well, I want control of your company, or else I'm not going to be involved. I'll give you the money, but I want control of the company." Sure. That happens sometimes here. Anyway, so yeah, this is last thing I'm going to say is this. Since I'm not giving this person the benefit of the doubt, I think it's highly likely that back when these pre-orders went on sale in March, and then now with the GameStop pre-orders, which are still listing, I believe, listing October 10th. Yeah, they're still listing October 10th on GameStop's website, a main gaming website. I think by March, you would have an idea if 6 months from now we can ship our product.
Well, that's what I was saying back then. I mean, we're talking fairly tight timelines, but I have a feeling that, it was fairly well known as we got into February, March here that
you would know whether or not you're on track, right?
Yeah, it's a big operation. It's not like you can just fucking switch it on, the next day and be like, okay, we're good. Saved by the bell.
So I'm going to say this. To me, it'd be highly unethical to take this much money from backers and in deposit money, $1.5 million, knowing likely that this is not going to come out in October and probably won't be out this year. Are people going to tag me for saying that? Like you have to hold us to the same standard as any other product or any other past console that came and went. You don't hold this product to a different standard because the quote unquote face of the product is doing interviews with all these YouTubers.
Yeah. It just seems very desperate.
Well, we'll see what their big announcement is in July. They're supposed to have a big announcement.